Everyone wants to play better golf, but how can we do that? In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to prepare for your next big golf match. So this week I'm playing in the Rose Ladies Open on the LET Access here at Brocket Hall, and what I'm going to be doing today is taking you on my practice round and showing you the things I'm looking at on the golf course and the things I'm getting mentally prepared for to make sure I play well in the tournament. And a lot of these things aren't technical, a lot of them are course strategy and just thinking and being prepared better to help you shoot a lower score in your next round. So we're on the 10th tee, and the first thing that's really key for me when I'm going out is thinking about what my strategy is off the tee. And really, we know we're not going to hit a good tee shot every time, but what is the most optimal line or the side of the fairway or side of the hole that I need to favour to make sure that I don't rack up a big score. In these tournaments or in any handicap competition, all we're trying to do is really eliminate those big numbers and let the rest of the round take care of itself. Now, I do have a course planner for this, which is extra helpful, but we can see that we're literally packed full of trees down the right, and this is also a dog leg. So if I go down the right, I'm going to make it really difficult for myself to get to the green. There's going to be loads of hazards. It's just going to be a lot more risky than aiming down the left side. So I really need to factor that into my club decision. We can see there's a bunker down the left, so is the decision to play left, play short of that, and make sure I'm super safe. So in my head here for this hole, I'm going to have two different strategies, kind of based on how well I'm hitting it or what the wind conditions are. I know I can play short left of this bunker if it's really windy and I don't want to go in there, or I know if I'm feeling a bit better, I've got the driver going well, that I can go a bit further right of it, hit it just over this bunker on the right and take on some of the dog leg. So I'm giving myself options, which is really key because we don't always play the same day to day. It's actually perfect. It's all down to the planning. Now, obviously this is a professional event, so we're provided with course planners for the course, and that makes it really easy to see the layout, but also to make notes about what you're doing. Now, I'm a huge advocate for this. Even if you're just at your home golf club, maybe you have a notepad instead, and just keeping a recording of different shots and maybe what your strategy is. We see this with players like Matt Fitzpatrick. He writes notes on every single shot he hits. Can you imagine how many notes he has just for one season on the PGA Tour? Now, what this means is if you come to a par 3 on your home course and it's really into the wind, it's uphill, you can just look back and see what you've hit in previous weeks. And if you know it was 150 last time you played, it was the same conditions and you hit a 7-iron and came up short, actually now you can just move up to a 6 this week. And just simple things like that is going to really help you bring your scores down without having to change your technique at all. So grab yourself a notepad or a course planner, get loads of notes written in there, and also just commit and stick to the strategy you pick, because that's really going to help you out. So a huge part of playing good golf is knowing your yardages, and I bang on about this all the time, but I think it's so important. And it's also taking your yardages in context of the day and the surroundings and what the course is playing like. So I've got 196 yards to the pin here, and for me it'd be really easy to just pull my hybrid out because I know that's what flies that distance. But actually, if we look at the land and kind of the conditions here at Brocket, it's very firm. You can see the turf's getting a little bit browny, which means it's going to pitch and run and release out more. So actually, instead of going for that pin number, what I'm going to do is look and see what the distance to the front of the green is, and that's 181 yards. So instead I'm going to go down to the club that I think is going to pitch that distance, leave me room to run out, and even if it ran all the way back to the back of the green, that would be perfectly fine. We know from looking at the ShotScope data that still a serious amount of amateur golfers are not getting their yardages right on the course, and actually a lot of the time we're coming up short, and you do have to think you've got to factor in missed strikes. You're not going to completely flush your club every time, so don't think, well, once I hit my 5-iron at 190, so that's now my 5-iron stock shot. A lot of the times I will kind of add a little bit yardage on, so if I know it's 150 I might play a 155, 160, just because I know I'm more likely to miss strike it and leave it shorter of the distance than I am to suddenly flush it over the back of the green. So lots of things to factor in there in terms of distance. It's not always as simple as just pulling out your laser, zapping the pin and hitting it that distance. If I hold this, you have to subscribe. You know what to do. A huge thing we need to get out of our heads when it comes to playing better golf and lowering scores is the ability to stop firing at pins, which can be really difficult when you're looking at a green and it's just that target and you think, oh, I just want to fire my ball at that, but it can lead to all sorts of problems. Now, let's be realistic. No one in the world is good enough to hit at every flag out on the golf course. Even Tiger talked about playing aggressively, but to his spot, which could even be 20, 30 feet away from the hole, depending on the wind, the hazards around the green, the slopes, and where he thought was the best place to miss. So when we're out on the golf course, we really need to be analysing the situation. Here, I really don't want to miss short right in that bunker and short side myself, so I'm definitely going to be moving my target 10 feet left of the pin minimum, and I've only got a wedge in my hand here. When that comes to a 3-wood hybrid longer shots, I'm going to be exaggerating that even more to make sure I'm moving my ball away from the hazards that are going to be most penal, giving myself the best chance of making par and avoiding those big scores. You can also think of this in terms of front and back rather than just left and right. If the pin's at the front, we really shouldn't be playing to that distance because we know we all miss short most often, and actually often all the hazards are at the front of the green, and playing from the back will be much easier. So making a sensible decision and almost moving the flag into your head to a different position where you want to aim is a really good strategy to lower your scores. So here I really don't want to miss short right, so I've gone up a bit in terms of club, and I'm just going to try and miss this long left. Didn't hit a very good shot, but because I aimed long left and it went short right, it ended up missing the pin. I feel like I literally proved my point there. That was actually really helpful. Only time I've been happy with a bad shot. Now, if you've been to watch professional tournaments, on practice days you will see they hit loads of putts and chips around all the greens, and that's because it might be their first time there and they want to get to know the slopes, but also because they know making those crucial putts is really important. Now, you can learn something from this because even the best players in the world don't read the putts perfectly every time, and actually a lot of the time we're missing putts is because we've misread the greens, or we've made an uncommitted stroke because we're not quite sure if we've read the green right or not. And actually we can be collecting information on the greens all the time and adding this to the memory bank to help us out in our next competition. So what a lot of people do in practice rounds is just put a tee peg out in positions where they think there might be a pin. Here I can actually see some old holes, so I'm just going to pop one in there. Now from this point I'm literally just going to make a cross and hit a putt from each direction, see which way it breaks, if there's any putts that are particularly a lot quicker, if they swing a lot, if there's some which maybe look straight to me but they're not, or maybe look right to left but they're not. And you're just learning if there's any things that are different to visually what you see, because that one shot could be really important at the end of the competition. Jesus. It's a good job I did that now. I'm gonna give this more break. What's going on here? Note to self, play short of this pin, as if I'm good enough to accurately land it short of this pin. Oh my gosh, I'm not actually sure that's even legal. That's actually gone behind me. What on earth? Now, once I've done this, I'm literally going to make notes on the green. So I know that I've hit my putts from here. I know that this one was literally so quick. I know that this was extremely quick. And I'm even going to leave notes like play the hole of the hole. If I had multicolours, I would make this red. Because that was horrible. Like, that was actually ridiculous. That ball went behind me. Now, one thing to note with this is there is a rule of golf limits what size a green book can be. So you do need to read up that and make sure it's not too big. But obviously if it is a course planner from like your shop or anything this size, it's going to be perfectly fine. Now, can you imagine how good you would be at putting if for like every corner of the green on your home course, you had a little map with 4 directions telling you which way they braked? It would give you loads more confidence over putts. And this is what pros are doing every week. And they've also got caddies to double check and back them up. So it's no wonder they're holing more putts than us. So if you want to hole more, or even just get your putts nearer the hole and give yourself more chance of 2-putting, get some good notes down, and it's really going to help you out next time you're in a competition. Now, sometimes it can be hard in competitions when you're teeing it up with a group of people and you have a different strategy. Say on this hole here, it looks like almost a drivable par 4, and when your playing partners go up there, smack driver, and it gets in play, you think, oh, maybe I should change my strategy and go for it. Now, actually, the discipline here is to stick to what you plan to do. For me here, I know driver has been a bit off for me this season, and actually I'm better just going down to a hybrid, which I know is going to hit the fairway, because I'm still easily going to get on this par 4 and 2, and there's no guarantees I can actually reach anywhere. By pulling out driver, I'm just bringing in more hazards, bringing in a bigger score, and just taking on a risk that's not really necessary. So a lot of the time, being disciplined, sticking to the plan you've given yourself is really important. We can still make birdie from there, unless we hit putts like we did on that last green. Now, once you've finished your round, it's really good to analyse your stats for the day, because we can all be critical about certain things, but actually it could be another part of your game causing the problems. Sometimes it's really easy to come off the golf course and think, oh, I putted really badly today, I had loads of 3-putts, but in reality, you were hitting loads of greens but hitting it miles from the pin. So actually, maybe you should have been 3-putting, and maybe you actually should be focusing on precision with the iron play and working on your proximity rather than necessarily putting. Now, you can do this simply by making notes in a course planner, scorecard, notepad, or you can use apps such as ShotScope, which will track your stats for you. But it's really important to just keep notes of different aspects of your game, so when you go and practice, you're actually practicing the right things that's going to help you improve. Big shout out to Rose Ladies Golf for having us this week. You can catch up with the action and the scoring on their social channels, which you can see here, and also on my Instagram, Hannah Holden NCG.